what's up? Recently, me and my buddy Max here played Spec Ops The Line. I never played it before. He showed me it. I think it's a good game. Here's our review.
I've been playing Spec Ops The Line for a while. Actually, I'd waited for about a year for it to come out, so I knew a little bit about it. But first we're going to talk about the campaign. And, well, let me just get this out of the way and say multiplayer is not in this review because it is so completely gone. There's no focus on it. You know, there's not even anyone playing right now. I don't blame them. It's very boring. It's nothing like the campaign, and they didn't spend any money on it really. So that's gone. That's out of the review. That's an automatic 0. But we're gonna start talking about the campaign and basically how the scenery is, how the AI work, and how everything goes. So what do you think, Phillip?
Well, see, I think of it as the AI works. It's crazy because your AI teammates actually have their own morals, basically. You do something that goes against their ideas of what they believe is right. They don't listen to your orders, which I actually think is a cool thing to add in there.
It is, because in most first-person shooters, it's like, you know, okay, I need you to take out this target. Don't mind me just killing off one of our teammates 10 minutes ago. Oh, yeah, no problem with that. So I think that was definitely something really interesting that got put into the game. For the campaign also, that your enemies change. You originally start off fighting rebels and, you know, normal outlaws like most games in apocalypse situations. And then you start going into situations where it's just, your enemies get worse and it gets a lot more personal as you go.
I do the halfway point of the game. I was confused at first. Didn't know who exactly we were fighting. My instincts took over and was just like, hey, there's a bad guy. Take him down as fast as I can.
Well, your gaming instinct is just kill him.
Kill him, yeah.
Don't worry about it. Like, morals, who cares? Just go.
Basically, yeah.
And something else I noticed about the gameplay was that, campaign per se, is that sandstorms. Definitely, sandstorms of sand definitely has something to do with the campaign.
That adds on to the scenery and
just
how the scenery can change so quickly. It was.
Oh yeah, 1 minute a building's there, and the next minute it's completely gone. People are looking for each other everywhere, and you know, it kind of adds to the chaos of, even though they're the enemy and you're, you know, per se the friendlies, you know, they're people too, and it kind of makes you think about that because once the sandstorms hit, it's almost like it's every man for himself. I mean, they're not killing each other off, but they're not looking for each other. They're like, hey, I need to find cover, and if I see someone shooting at me, friendly or not, they're getting shot at.
It's like, hey, a sandstorm just came through. We're missing Bob. Who cares about Bob?
Who cares about Bob? We need to find cover. Where's cover?
This guy's shooting at us. We need to get our butts into cover.
Yeah, so that definitely came in. And the whole gameplay, or the whole campaign at least, plays like a movie. It's laid out perfectly, but you don't notice it's a movie because you act in it. Like, it's kind of like being an actor in a big-time movie where there's improv. That's the basic way I can put it, is there's a lot of improv, but there's one main story you always stick to.
Yeah, I agree with Max there. It's, like, it has a plan, but you choose what goes on in between from point A to point B. It messes with you.
Something I wish could have happened for the campaign, though, that I didn't really like, was that I kind of wish you saw more into the life of your enemy. I mean, you kind of thought about it on your own, but you had to do that on your own. Like, it didn't say, this is what life is like for them. Like, it never showed it. It never showed, like, their barracks. Like, you see a barracks for, like, a little bit, but they're, like, in good condition, per se.
And you also see, like, when you go into one of the internment camps, basically.
Yeah.
How, like, they had a bunch of, like, civvies held up there.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see that, but it's like, you don't really see the life of... You see the life of the civilians, which is the whole goal, but you don't see the life of the military.
You really don't, yeah, it's true.
Like, the whole time you're thinking, okay, the military should have it better than us, but the way you see it towards the end is they really don't. They have it actually worse because
worse.
They don't have a moral choice. The civilians are told do this, but the military are told make people do this. Like, they're worse people. They know that.
So would you classify as the trouble that you had to the game?
I would.
Alright, yeah.
You kind of had to think about it on your own, and that was good and bad. It made me want to go back and play it more to figure it out, but that was kind of a trouble because I didn't want to have to go back. Some of the other troubles was, this is my personal experience, melee is the same as vaulting.
I had no trouble with it, honestly. I was punching people, jumping over things.
But my problem was, like, I would be up against cover, and I'm hitting the melee button, or the cover button, the same thing, basically, and I'm, like, swinging at this rock, and this guy's peeking over, shooting a 417 into my chest, and the whole time I'm trying to hop over and kick him in the face, but I guess I could have just done what Phillip did and just ran around and punched him in the face, but I was too determined to hop over that cover and come after him.
Another thing that I had a little bit of trouble with the game, well, me and Max both, technically, he noticed it before I did, like, some of the cutscenes within the game are better than others. It's weird because you don't normally see it. I guess it's trying to make you think.
It makes you focus on something. It's like,
tragic
you can
things.
tell where the normal is and where the extra is. Like, the extra is those scenes, like, if it looks better, you're probably not going to forget it for a very long time.
Yeah.
I can't really spoil anything, but let's just say fire looks a lot better when it's extra credited, and it's a lot more depressing.
It really is.
Now we'll go into the gameplay when I say assassinations are awesome.
They're really crazy. Like, first start off, regular army takedowns, man. Like, bash them with the butt of your gun.
Butt them with the rifle,
by the end of
bash
the
them on the
game.
ground. But towards the end of the game, you're like pistol whipping the guy in the head and like smashing his head in with your fist. Like, you're going personal on this. Like, you've been looking for this guy the whole time you're
I
there.
remember one of them with a shotgun. You shoot him in
Oh,
the
you shoot him in the kneecap and then shoot him in the head and their whole head just explodes
like,
off.
it's just gone. That's another thing with the gameplay. Headshots, it's not like a normal game. Like, basically every bullet's 50 cal.
Well, not every bullet. An actual bullet does what it's supposed to in this game.
Like, with the assassinations, it's like the bullets of 50 cal. Like,
close quarters, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I
like,
can kind of see how a bullet would fire.
Like, I mean, if you shoot someone with a DMR, like a 417 from far away, it's not going to be as bad as if you put it point blank to their face and just pulled the trigger. And you kind of see that whenever you're playing where, a Desert Eagle, a lot of games, oh, you shot me in the head with a Desert Eagle, especially Call of Duty, I hate when it does this. You shot me in the head with a Desert Eagle.
Well, I'm going to walk away from this.
I'm completely fine. My helmet stopped that. It's a 50 cal round. I'm perfectly fine. And this, it blows his head off, even if he's wearing a helmet. And actually, his helmet will fly off. His helmet will fly off to the side.
Really?
Yeah, it'll fly off if he's wearing a certain helmet.
I've never noticed that.
Yeah, so like most of the time I'll shoot like a sniper or something, and his whole head just explodes, and like half of his Shamara is still there.
You see his helmet flying off over
No,
there?
you see like his head wrap, like half of his head wrap's
yeah.
still there, but the rest of his head's gone. It's just
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so there's that, and then there's the sand can be used as a weapon in a really interesting way.
It's very interesting, very brutal. I think
you don't really think about it. Like, when you get towards the end of the game, you kind of realize it, but in the beginning you're like, it even tells you like in the first minute of combat, shoot the glass, the glass, and you're like, oh, okay, shoot the glass out, sand comes down, people dead, awesome. But you start to realize that you gotta think through their mind, this is hundreds of pounds of force just crushing these guys.
And the thought of being buried alive like that.
Oh, even if you don't die, you're stuck there.
You're stuck there. You're just gonna die.
You're gonna die or whatever it may be. And that actually is pointed out later in the game, where you come across bodies that were trapped in the building by the sand.
That's right. Yeah,
and you see people stuck in the sand whose bones have been broken, and you kind of realize this is what I've been doing to people. Like. Yeah. In the first minute of gameplay, I was told to do this, and that kind of goes with the gaming instinct and another thing of
you gun and run it.
Yeah, and this kind of goes into the story that we're going to talk about now. Is you're never right.
You truly aren't. It's how do I explain it? It's crazy, basically.
You think you're right.
You think you're right the entire game.
Your gut tells you you're right, because in most games you just go, okay, kill him.
Hey, I'm gonna kill this guy, and I'm obviously a hero. I'm gonna get a reward and everything. That's not how this game plays out, my friends.
No. This is the least spoiler the most spoiler I can do at this point, basically, is the quote of when your main character, Walker tells John Conrad, I only meant to help people, and John Conrad simply says, no, your talents lie elsewhere. That just blew my mind when he told me that, because all I'm thinking is, he's right. You know, I just crush people in sand, and all this stuff's happening, and it gets, guys, it gets worse. It gets worse.
It really does.
If you think, oh wow, this happened, this is the saddest thing I've seen in like gaming history, no, it gets worse. I guarantee you it gets worse. Until you see the credits roll, it gets worse.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even after, doesn't the little after the credits?
Like the prologue, yeah.
Not the prologue. Is it the
prologue? It's prologue.
Yeah, because okay.
So even when you get to that, there's a secret Easter egg. We can't really tell you what it is, but I can tell you
how to do it.
But there's an Easter egg at the end. There's 2 Easter eggs actually. So
it's basically multiple. It's like a different alternate.
There's
ending?
6 endings total.
6 endings.
Technically, yeah, 6 endings total. And once you get to the end, actually, I think there's 6. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. There's multiple endings, and one of the endings has a line that explains the title of the game.
Yeah.
It's the Easter egg that you kind of figure out, and you kind of go, wow. So basically, our expectation for the game was an average first-person shooter.
I thought it was pretty. I wanted to play it, but I wasn't like, hey, I gotta go buy this game and learn everything about it.
Well, the thing about me was, I actually waited for about 1.5 years to get it, and I was expecting it not to be that great. I was like, okay, I have it on pre-order. I'm not just gonna take away my credit. I'm just gonna chill out, let it do its own thing. But it's great, guys. When a video game becomes one of the best stories I've probably ever heard or seen, like, you kind of tell someone like, oh man, I heard the story where this happened, and it was super sad, and it was really meaningful. Oh man, what book was that? Oh, it wasn't a book. What movie was that? It wasn't a movie. What was it? It was a video game.
Spec Ops The Line.
Spec Ops The Line.
Our actual rate that we give it is 9.5. It's truly a good game. You guys
I will
check
never
it out.
give a game a 10, but it's pretty close.
It's really
I don't want to
close.
be technical with like the 9.85, but that's basically what it would probably get is a 9.85 or something.
I guess me and you are kind of just a little bit basing it off the story-wise. If you were actually looking at graphics-wise and stuff like that, it may be lower, but me and Max are just paying attention to the story, because its story is
Well, that's my
really
thing
great.
with story. I mean, Fallout series, for one thing, isn't all that great on graphics.
It really isn't. Like,
Fallout is bad graphics, but you play it for the story. You don't go to your friend and go, dude, I found the best graphics in the world, it's Fallout.
Actually, Max, I think we just play it to go blow off some super mutants' heads.
Well, why does that sound familiar to the guys in Dubai?
That's true. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This is me and Max.
And he's Phillip.